Welcome to another episode of Time is Precious with me, your coach, Coach Precious. Glad to see you or be seen by you again. I have a good word and I'm looking forward to sharing it, and hopefully it will resonate. You will feel it and act accordingly in appreciating this wonderful commodity of time that we have. My affirmation is I am confident in my decisions and trust the path that I am on. I am confident in my decisions and trust the path that I am on. I want to just sit with that for a moment. I want you to sit with that. Do you, in fact, feel this way? Are you confident in your decisions? Do you trust the path you're on? I'm going to dig a little deeper, of course. You knew that was coming. And I want to start with choices. So when it comes to trusting our decision, being confident rather in our decisions, it's all about trusting our choices. What kind of choice maker are you? Are you making choices for your well-being? Let's look at that. One of the points I'm going to highlight under our choices is awareness. Are you even aware? Are you aware of the needs that you have? Because without awareness, we cannot make the ideal choices and changes and adjustments that we need because we're not aware. There needs to be an understanding and an openness and an acceptance to who we are and what we need. And that comes from spending time with ourselves and being real with ourselves. Are you aware of your need and to the degree for the next few options that I'm going to mention? One is rest. Are you aware of your needs there? Nutrition, exercise, support, excitement, or fun. What are you doing with your time? The choices that you're making with your time. How are you using your choices to benefit yourself based on the needs that you have, your body, your unique self, your authentic self that you have, not someone else, not what someone else thinks you ought to do or need. What do you say you need? Have you tapped in? And are you aware of your needs from the ones that I just shared and others? You'll know when you spend that time with yourself. Another one is what kind of choices are you are your actions reflecting? What are you actually doing? It's one thing to think about things and be aware of things. That's part of the equation, but that doesn't complete it. What are we actually doing with what we think, what we know, and what we are aware of? What are you doing? If there were a camera to follow you around and there was a movie made on a day in the life of you, what would it showcase you doing? How are you using your time? How are you actively living your life? What actions are you taking? Another point is, how do you think? Now, thoughts come into our minds. What are you feasting on, though? Because sometimes the thoughts that come into our minds are not desired. They come. What do we do with them? How are we thinking? Are we ruminating on certain thoughts? Are we filling our minds with healthy thoughts? Do we have anything new to bring to the table, the proverbial table of our minds? How do we think? How are we speaking to ourselves and to others? What will our language reveal? Again, if there were a camera to capture what we tell ourselves, our internal dialogue, if there were a camera to capture the conversations that we have with others, passersby, those that we know intimately, what kind of language are we reflected from? What is reflected from us? What are we speaking? So making decisions is not just, I'll make a decision. No, it's the routine of being aware and active, our awareness, being aware of our needs. What are we aware of? Have we spent time to just take some time and become aware? What are we doing? What are our actions revealing? What are we doing? What are we thinking? And what are we speaking on a regular basis? Okay, so there may be some one-off moments and we do some things differently, but as a rule, a general consensus, what do we do regularly, consistently? What are our actions revealing? And to be confident in our decisions involves choices, knowing how to be aware, how to take positive action, and how to think. And another one, as far as the next part of the affirmation, about being confident and trusting the path that you're on. Do you trust the path that you're on right now? Are you on a path? Are you aware of where it's taking you? Now, when you hear the word autopilot, I imagine doing things just automatically without thinking, maybe just rote. You do it because you've learned to do that. That's been taught to you. You've mastered the practice of so much so that you don't even have to think about it. You do it automatically. Are you living your life on autopilot? What about cruise control? That's another example of doing things kind of in autopilot, but you set it and then you don't have to think about it. So you don't have to worry about your speed fluctuating if you put your car on cruise control. It's going to stay where you put it. What have you done in life? Where have you put yourself so that you don't have to think about it? You're just cruising. Are you just cruising through life? This path you're on, is it just having you cruise? Hey, I'm back. I'm beyond cruise control. What about the travelator? Have you been to an airport and instead of taking all of the steps, you get on the travelator? I use it in my mind, I call it what do we call it? Like a moving sidewalk. And it's not a sidewalk, it's inside the building, but you step on it and you don't have to keep walking. You just stand still and it takes you in the direction that you're headed. So you're not taking extra steps, or if you are, you don't have to walk as fast because the travelator is automatically taking you at a certain speed in a certain direction. All of those things have their place. The autopilot, cruise control, travelator. In your life, are you riding, cruising, or are you intentional about the path you're on? Have you made the choice and are you pleased with the direction that you're going? Question to ask self. Another question is who's leading? Okay, so you're on a path, whether it's automatic, someone else set you on that course and you agreed to it, or you've been intentional yourself. Who's leading that path for you? Could it be outside influences? Outside influences could include other people, whomever they can be, friends, family, um, co-workers, supervisors. Who's leading that path for you? Maybe even your culture. What's going on in culture that is influential to you? Is that guiding you, your direction, the path that you're on? It's important to know and recognize who's leading. Second point for who's leading, whether it be outside influences or inside. And for inside, I'm going to speak to your subconscious. It's so interesting, and I appreciate this knowledge to know for myself that your subconscious believes what you tell it. So if you're telling yourself things and your circumstances are reflecting what you're telling yourself, no wonder. That's what your circumstances are revealing, what your subconscious has been fed with. And based on that subconscious, as it shares then with your conscious mind, your actions are reflected by what you think, and the results are derived from that as well. So, what are you moving in? What path has you? Um, what? Who's leading the path that you're on? Ultimately, if it's your subconscious, it's what you've fed it. It's what you continue to feed it. Is it out of fear or love that you speak to your subconscious, that you're in the same space that you're in now, that you're in the particular space because of how you think and what you've told yourself, what you've believed? What is it that you believe? What are you telling yourself? What is your subconscious revealing? And you know what it's revealing based on the results that you're getting, because there's a process to get to the results, and it starts there with your subconscious. Another one, what you tell it, I'm just going to emphasize again, it believes. So, with this precious commodity of time, what if we tell ourselves the things that we truly desire? What if we recognize that we can achieve things, that we already are in possession of, of qualities, circumstances that are desirous to us? What if we accept that, believe that, and tell ourselves that? Imagine what the subconscious will do, because it believes it, and it makes room for what we've claimed. So, to be confident in this affirmation, I'm going to read it again. I am confident in my decisions and trust the path I'm on. It's important to make sure that you are paying attention and are aware to your needs, that you are making sure your actions are reflecting these positive choices, because to make healthy choices is part of being able to trust your decisions. That's important. I just felt that one. Being able to trust your decisions is based on being able to make healthy choices and being able to trust them, because you consistently make healthy choices. There may be times we have one off moments and we realize, I don't know if that was a good one. And other times we may realize, yeah, that wasn't a good one. Or so we feel at the time when we reflect. But if the bulk of your decisions you can rest with, that's a positive thing. And when we consider the path that we're on and we trust it, it's because we've been intentional. We're not on autopilot, cruise control, on a travelator. No one has set us on this path and just kind of pushed us and told us, go, run, go. No, we have chosen our path. Even if someone else has suggested it for us, got to weigh whether we agreed with that or not, whether it fit our purposes and our plans for our lives. And so when we are aware, we are the ones leading when we choose accordingly. And it's not other people, it's not culture. If we are following things that others have told us, or if we appreciate certain parts of culture and we're implementing that into our lives, it's because we're choosing it, not just because it chose us, not just because of convenience. No, we are intentional and we're choosing our path based on our best interest and the interests of those that whom we support, who support us. But it starts with us, because we're only responsible for who and what we can control, and that's ourselves. We don't control others. So we control ourselves, and we make choices that put us on a healthy and a good path for ourselves. And then others can benefit from it as well. But we're making decisions for ourselves. And we're feeding our subconscious the life that we choose, the life that we recognize we are in possession of. We're building on that in positive ways with our language and what we repeat, our affirmations, and what we believe, what we connect with is reflected in our actions. So I say, I am confident in my decisions and trust the path I'm on, not just because I say it, but because I do it. So, what are you doing with your time? Choose well, choose for your benefit. And as you do so, you too are already or will be able to say, I am confident in my decisions and trust the path I'm on. Thank you. Look forward to being seen by you again soon.